Hey guys, Happy New Year and welcome back to the channel. And today's video is going to be a significant and very educational video where we're going to talk about what had happened in the month of December just for a little bit. And then we're going to dive in and give you a whole snapshot of what had happened in the Canmore real estate market for 2023. And then we're going to compare that to 2022 as well. So you can see kind of what had happened over the year, how things transpired, and where we're sitting at today moving into 2024. So first things first, let's talk about the December statistics for 2023.
Sure. So in December, at the end of the month, 2023, we had 108 active properties on the market. So still down from typical numbers over the history of the market in Canmore. 29 new listings. 32 units had sold, an average list price of 1.341, an average sale price of 1.289, 97% sold to ask ratio. So keep in mind, this is as a market as a whole. We'll dive into the specifics of that coming up here. The average price per square foot was $737. The average days on the market was 48, and the average month supply is, or not the average month supply, the month supply is 2.51 months. So 2.5 months of supply basically. In the fractionals, which there are a few, there's 2 units sold. The average list price was $194,000. The average sale price was $187 and change. 94% of sold to ask ratio. Price per square foot was $186, and the average days on the market was 70. So those don't tend to move as quick, and they tend to be a little bit of a discounted price. So maybe do you have anything to add on that?
I think just the biggest thing for people to note when we're talking about these statistics is that we're breaking out the fractionals and the pre-sales from our specific data. And the reason why we do that is we feel like those are kind of a little bit of a separate topic, and they don't necessarily impact the actual numbers on what we're seeing in the resale market right now today.
Yeah, and I think what we'll see with especially the pre-sales, you will see them as a sold once they title transfers and they do get sold. That is, I think, more of a snapshot of what that market, because those are not being sold for a couple of years, most of those. So we'll add those in later once they become sold, and they'll reflect on sold data. So
perfect. Let's roll into specific property types for the month of December strictly. Again, this is excluding those pre-sales and fractionals. For apartments, we had 9 sales for an average list price of just under $800,000. The average sale price was coming in at just over $780,000. The average sold to ask ratio was 98%, and our average price per square foot was $680. Those apartments are staying on the month until sale for an average of 33 days.
Perfect. So townhouses, we had 6 sell. About $875,000 was the average list price. The average sale price was $858,000, 98% sold to ask ratio. The average price per square foot was $616, and the average days on the market was 61. So they tend to stay on the market a little bit longer.
Yeah, for sure. Single family, we had 10 sales, which I find is a little bit interesting. That was our most popular property type, specific property type for the month of December, which we don't typically always see that. The average list price was just over $2.1 million. The average sale price was coming in at $2,050,000 roughly. 97% was our sold to ask ratio on those single families. $791 a square foot, and 48 days on average it was taking those single families to move.
It was interesting. I was looking at some data here yesterday on the single family properties, and we only have 16 active single families in the town of Canmore. And that actually includes deadmans, which there isn't any here right now. But I just find that very low inventory, and I think that's probably why there are so many units sold. You know, we probably had quite a few more last month, and then some sell off. So you know, we're seeing really strong numbers there. $791 a square foot is quite.
It's our highest residential price per square foot.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah.
Half duplexes. There was 2 units sell in the month of December, just under 1.3 million. The average sale price was 1.22. 93% of sold to ask ratio, so we're seeing a little bit of a decline there in the month of December, which isn't probably uncommon. December seems to be a little bit slower of a month for those. Average price per square foot was $510 and 133 days on the market. So that will reflect in the sold to ask ratio, because the longer things stay on the market, there's usually some price drops, and so maybe what we'll do is watch that market as it comes, and
for sure
be able to give some feedback.
Yeah, I don't think that, especially with 2 units selling, I don't think that's a direct correlation of the half duplex market. Just kind of, if you're in that market and you're looking at it as a whole, just because I do think that, you know, the sale price to ask ratio is a little bit closer to our average of 99% for the year than that 93%. But that's what happens in the days on market.
And I think as we get into comparing 23 to 22, we'll probably get a better snapshot of that.
Totally. Lots, we had 1 lot sell for just shy of $4 million. Sorry, that was the list price of that lot. The sale price was $3.6 million, 92% sold to ask ratio, and that lasted 2 days on the market. Yeah. So
is that the one up Silvertip?
No, I believe that's the one down on Policeman's Creek.
Just downtown there. Yeah, that's correct.
Right in the heart of Canmore, but still crazy numbers for those.
So hotel condos, we'll just get into the short-term investment market here in Canmore. 3 units sold. Average list price was $556,000, just under that. The average sale price was $565,000, just under $565,000. 101% of sold to ask. Now keep in mind, you're going to see GST in those, so I would bet we're probably close to the 99% sold to ask ratio. $1,082 per square foot, and the average days on the market is 32.
And I'm looking forward to diving into the year snapshot of these hotel condos, because it's crazy what's happened from 2022 to 2023 on those. So make sure you stay tuned till the end of this video, where we talk about those short-term rentals and what had changed. Tourist homes, we had 1 sale. Average list price was coming in at $899,000. The sale price for that tourist home was $890,000. 99% sold to ask ratio, $867 a square foot, and that tourist home lasted 23 days on the market. So there's a glimpse of what had happened in the month of December. Again, the best part about doing this video, lumping it with December, is that December is a little bit of a slower month for sure, probably our slowest. So going into these year-end statistics will really give you an idea of what had happened over the course of 2023 and how it compares. And I think the biggest thing is that we're still trending upwards. So we'll get into the statistics that support that, and then we can talk a little bit at the end of this video about what we think had happened and why and where we think it's going. Do you want to maybe dive in if you have nothing to add on 2023 year end?
Sure. Just quickly on the sold units. So like I was just doing some quick math. I think we had 32 in the month of December. I don't think that that's typical for December numbers. So just in talking to people in the industry, other realtors and lawyers and mortgage brokers and financial people, December was busy. It was really busy for people. So, you know, again, those numbers, back to what we continue to talk about, and it feels like sometimes when we're doing these videos, it's the same. It's the same. I just think that we're pretty solid here in Canmore, and the numbers seem to show that over a month-to-month basis.
And I think, to your point, I think the same is good. We're continuing to grow at a healthy at a healthy rate.
Yeah,
And
we'll get into that for
obviously we'd like to see more inventory and lower interest rates and whatnot, but you can't have everything. So
Yeah.
let's talk about 2023. I'll let you dive in. And so this specific snapshot will compare the year as a whole from 2023 to 2022.
Yeah. So at the year end of 2023, we had 387 units sold, and in 2022, we had 502 units. So that really, it wasn't alarming to me, but when I looked at the data and we saw the increase of what the average sale price was on the whole market compared to how many units sold, it just didn't correlate with me, because 502 units sold last year and 387 units. But I think it's because, or my opinion is our lack of inventory is keeping our product at a strong dollar. So
For sure.
the average list price in 2022 was just over $1 million. And the average list price in 2023 was just over 1.1. The average sale price was basically the same, just over $1 million. And then the average sale price was 1.103 in 2023. 101% of sold to ask ratio in 22 and 99% in 23. $713 a square foot in 2022, $756 in 23, and 37 days on the market in 22, and 50 in 23, and then 1.6 or 1.5 months of inventory supply in 22, and then 2.5. So typically when you see that happening, you will see prices drop.
Yeah.
But because of our inventory and because of people wanting to come here and live here and work here and play here and all those other things, it's kept the list and sales price up. And we'll talk about what that number looks like going forward. So let's just break down specifically 22 to 23 in each different property type.
Yep. Okay. So we're going to move into talking about apartments and comparing what had happened in 2022 to 2023. So 2022, we had 113 sales. And this past year, 2023, we had 85. So we're seeing that number drop a little bit. The average list price for 2022 was $653,000 and change. And then in 2023 was $746,000 and change. So we did see an increase in the average list price and the average sale price. Our average sale price for 2022 was coming in at $660,000, and in 2023 $732,000. So we are seeing both the list prices and the sale prices increase. Our sold to ask ratio for 2022 was coming in at 101%. And for 2023, we were coming in at 98%. So a little bit less, which is kind of a correlation with the market and with the days on market increase that we saw. 35 average days on market to sale for 2022 and 51 in 2023. And then that correlates into our price per square foot, which is a little bit interesting. And this is the only specific property type where we saw this, is in 2022, we had an average price per square foot of $677. And in 2023, we had an average of $663. Now, the reason why I personally think this is the case is in 2022, we had a project that was sold, a new construction project that was sold, that had 18 residential units, staff accommodation units, and their prices to their square foot was significantly high. You know, they're super small units, 600 to 650 square feet, some even smaller. So I think that's what is causing that little shift in the market. I mean, obviously 2023, we're seeing list price and sale price significantly up from 2022. So that's kind of my reflection on the apartments as a whole. So if you're in the apartment market, I don't think it's something to go, oh no, our price has dropped because the average square foot price is lower in 2023 than it was in 2022. that's my personal take on it. Maybe you have a different opinion or anything you'd like to add to that. But yeah, that's where I think the data is getting adjusted.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. Great point. So let's talk about single family homes. So in 22 we had 88 sell, and in 23 we had 69 units. The average list price was 1.8, just above in 2022, and then in 2023 was 1.966 million. So obviously we saw a increase in the list price. The sales price was 1.775 in 22, and in 23 was just under 1.9 million. And 98% sold to ask in 22 and the same in 23. So basically the market grew, but the sold to ask ratio stayed the same. So that basically shows that things are staying flat. People are still getting what they're asking for.
Totally.
Price per square foot, $640 in 22, and then in 23, $697 a square foot. 44 days on the market in 22 and 52 in 23. So stayed similar. Like I said, there's only 16 active this month right now. So still a great time if you're looking at selling in the single family market for sure.
Let's move into townhouses. Units sold in 2023, we had 93. And in 2022, we had 124. The average list price of those 2022 townhouses was coming in at $1 million. And the average list price in 2023 was coming in at $1,038,000. $1,038,000. The average sale price for 2022 townhouses was $1,012,000. And in 2023 was $1,021,000. So the townhouses stayed pretty similar over the 2022 to 2023. Sold to ask ratio for 2022 was 101% compared to 98% in 2023. The average price per square foot, $656 compared to $673 in 2023. This past year, we had 52 average days on market to sale, and then 2 years previous, 35. So we are seeing the townhouse market maybe, I don't want to say slow down, just the average days on the market is up a little bit more drastically than some of the other specific property types. But again, still strong market, prices are up, square foot price is up. Maybe you want to dive into half duplex.
Yeah, and I think we'll talk a little bit at the end as we get into this video why days on market and month supply is up, yet prices are staying similar. So stay tuned for that. Half duplexes, 2022, 25 units sold. In 23, we had 29 units sold. Average list price was 1.48, and in 22, and in 23, 1.64. Sale price 1.458. And in 22 and in 23, 1.56, 99% sold to ask compared to 97% this year. 654 price per square foot dollars, and in 23 we had 677. 33 days on the market in 22 compared to 81 days in 23. So again, days on the market are longer, but square foot price has gone up and sold to ask has remained quite similar. So maybe you could talk about the lots that sold in the town of Canmore.
Yeah, for sure. Before I get into that, I just want to stop the video for a quick second and just say, if you're finding this content informative, please like and subscribe to the channel. In 2024, this year, our YouTube channel is going to be our one-stop shop for all information on what's happening in the market as far as statistics, new listings, property featured tours. We're going to talk about what it's like to eat, live, sleep, and play here. We really want to drive a bunch of people to our channel. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please do. It really does help us grow and just get this out to more people who can benefit, whether it's someone who's looking to buy, sell, or invest, or someone who's visiting Canmore or lives here already. We just really want to create something that gives a ton of value to to everybody. So let's move into lots. Again, this data is very minimal. So, take the numbers with a little bit of caution on this.
And the reason for that is the town is quite spread out, and a lot downtown, as we just saw, at 3.6 million.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot up in Three Sisters, maybe.
Exactly.
It's quite different. So,
Exactly.
This is a really small sample size.
I think the biggest underlying thing with the data that we're about to talk about is that I did notice in 2023 there being more demand for lots
and
building as opposed to buying resale. So I did notice that, and that maybe is a little bit of a reflection in the drive in prices and the days on market. But again, like Kevin said, it does matter where those lots are. So for 2022, I'm just going to go down and talk about all of what had happened in 2022 for these lots. So we had 5 units sell. The average list price was $1.24 million. The average sale price was $1.209 million. 98% sold to ask ratio and 54 average days on the market. Now hang on to your socks here, because in 2023 we had 4 sales for an average list price of $1.9 million and the average sale price of $1.867 million. So we're talking about $650,000 on average increase in lot prices. 100% sold to ask ratio, and 11 days were the average days on market for those lots. So the demand is definitely there. There's people who want land. If they don't already, and I shouldn't say this because there's a lot of lots that they go straight to developers, or there's lots of people who have their ins on lots. So this is just kind of like the resale market of what actually hits the public eye. But man, there is a demand for the lots for sure.
Well, and I think part of that is some of the lots that have sold were maybe lots that had been in families for years and years and years, and finally came to the market.
Yeah.
And so those lots were very specific, like that one downtown.
Yeah.
It was a very specific lot. It took 2 days to sell.
Yeah.
3.6 million.
Massive lot.
Lots of people were probably waiting for that to come up.
Yeah.
So that kind of drove that a little bit as well. But the lot market is very, very strong here in Canmore. People wanting to do what they want to do and develop how they would like to. So
Totally. Do you want to roll into talking about move into the short-term rental segment?
Sure.
Now keep in mind, again, this data specifically is excluding fractionals and excluding pre-sales for both 2022 and 2023. So just keep in mind that this is specifically the resale data excluding those two.
Yeah. Okay. In 2022, we'll just go down that column first. So we had 98 units sold. The average sale price or list price was $688,000 and change. The average sale price was $713,000. The sold to ask ratio was 103%. Now we have to keep in mind the GST is on that. So again, probably close to 100%, 99%. $837 per square foot and 37 days on the market.
2023, we had 72 sales for those hotel condos. The average list price for this past year, $743,000 and change. Sale price was $766,000 and change. Sold to ask ratio was 103%. So exactly the same as what we saw in 2022. Like Kevin said, probably a little closer to that 98 to 100 and 101. Average price per square foot was $970. So we saw an increase of about $140 a square foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's significant in a year for sure.
And that's the used market too. And we've seen in the pre-sale market, I mean, some of those are selling for like $1,300 a square foot.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Average days on the market were 35. So again, actually our days on the market this last year was the same relatively, but a little bit quicker to sell in 2023 than 2022. So we are still seeing the demand for those investment properties remain high.
Well, and I think that it's very clear over the last 2 years. And if you go back into COVID, The days on the market were even quicker.
Yeah.
We were seeing multiple.
Yeah,
and,
10,
you know,
17 days. Yeah.
and tons of multiple offers. Whereas now, there's a few, but most stuff is, you know, you get a single offer and you're dealing with it. People have some time. So if you're buying,
Yeah.
it's a great time because you can actually breathe when you buy.
Or you can get educated and you can go and see the units, right? Because lots of times these people buy and they're not physically present in Canmore. And if they haven't been here and walked the town with us and seen these areas and allowed us to show them the different buildings and the different amenities and so on and so forth, they don't know and they're not comfortable making that decision. And I mean, I know I probably wouldn't be, but so it's allowing buyers to be a little bit more educated. The market is still hot. It's still booming. And I mean, obviously they're making money.
Well, I think it really depends on what type of investor you are.
Totally.
Are you an investor that's just getting into this market? Or are you an investor that have been in the market for a long time and you're comfortable with video and all that stuff? And, you know, buying and selling stuff. So
Totally.
it just depends. So let's just talk about the tourist home market. In 2022, we had 49 units sold, and this year we had 35. 2022, the list price was $804,000. The sales price in 22 was $812,000. In 2023, the list price was $818,000, and the sale price was $835,000 and change. 101% sold to ask ratio in 22 and 102 in 23. $862 per square foot compared to $931 in 23. 34 days on the market compared to 41 in 23. So relatively same. Again, growth, price per square foot has gone up, that type of thing.
Yeah. So I think that wraps up all the specific property types and the comparisons that we saw. Maybe we can just spend a couple minutes here and discuss. I mean, I think the data is very self-explanatory as far as what had happened. I think the biggest thing rolling into 2024 when we look back is that our sale price has increased about 11% on average. So, I mean, I think that's positive for people who own in the market. I think it's growing at a sustainable rate. I mean, we saw, I think it was like 22% or something the year before with COVID and whatnot and interest rates being rock bottom. But I do think that 11% is a pretty healthy number. I think it's encouraging for people who own. And I still think it's encouraging for people who are looking to get into the market because it still shows that through COVID and through the turn in interest rates and everything spiking and the world, you know, potentially talking about recession and all this, Canmore continued
to grow.
Which I think is the biggest underlying thing that people could take from this video is that, I mean, we went from here to here and Canmore just kept going like this the entire way. So for people who are a little bit hesitant to get into the market or they weren't sure on what to do because, are we going to make a bad decision because prices are going to drop dramatically? We haven't seen that, and I don't think we will.
No, and I would agree with you. I don't think we will see that. I mean, there's a lot more to the whole market and interest rates and recession and inflation and all of these things that, you know, are kind of outside the scope of what we're talking about. But what I think I see and I hear from analysts and experts that do those types of educational videos or put out data, things seem to be stabilizing from a interest rate perspective.
Totally.
Talking to some mortgage specialists and some financial people, they believe that we're probably going to see some interest rate drops throughout this next year. I'm not sure how that's going to correlate to inflation or all of those things, but going through the interest rate hike, there was a lot of uncertainty in the market as a whole across Canada. And I think you saw that in places like Toronto, Vancouver, where prices dropped. Some legislation that the government put in specifically on the short-term market stuff in BC that we saw. Some talk about some federal legislation coming in on short-term market. So through all of this turmoil, we have remained pretty solid. And I think that we will continue to, based on the 11% increase from last year. So I think that we should see growth again, and hopefully that's the case. Just one thing. So we had 108 active listings in 2023 at this year.
At the end of the year.
At the end of the year. At the end of the
Yeah.
month. So I think that's probably as of end of December?
Yeah, December
Okay.
31st. Yeah.
End of December 2022, we had 74. So we're still historically low on our inventory, which is keeping the price. One of the reasons the price is remaining with growth.
Yeah.
You know, the other reason is, I mean, you just have to look outside.
Yeah.
What we have here is where people want to live. They want to live, they want to play, they want to visit, all of those things. And so we see a lot of people wanting to be here. And the way the world has changed with being able to work from home and those types of things, it's just remained very, very strong here. And I would suggest that will be what we see moving forward.
Yeah. We're seeing, one of the things I've noticed as well is that we're seeing Alberta as a whole becoming a really desirable place in Canada for people to live or invest. I mean, there's lots of I have clients that invest in Edmonton because there's great opportunities on, a greater commercial scale there. So there's lots of build up around Alberta. I mean, we're seeing lots of people from Ontario, talking about potentially shifting out to Alberta, and why not live in Canmore? It's one of the most beautiful places in Canada, let alone, it's got to be up there for one of the most beautiful places in the world, in our opinion. But I mean, it's just such a desirable place, and there's lots of opportunity in Alberta for work and whatnot. So we are seeing that become the case. And I think one of the reasons as well is, and I'm changing the subject here a little bit, on why I think our sales were down a little bit, is obviously our inventory was low. It was low last year. Is I think that people were a little bit conservative on what was happening in the world and what had happened with interest rates, them going up so quickly. And I know even today, it's still difficult for people to get financing on certain things. And I think that there is a little bit of a brighter view in the future coming on that. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to return to what it was, but I do think that it's going to become a little bit easier. It has to, because it's very difficult for certain people, depending on their status and what they're trying to do, and just starting out to get into these markets. But I do think that interest rates definitely played a factor in that, and it just alludes to the Canmore market being so special because we still continued to grow, even though we potentially maybe lost some buyers just because it just wasn't possible, and prices are high here. There's no doubt about it.
Days on the market went up, and that's why months supply went up, because things sat a little bit longer.
Yeah,
it didn't drop the price because sellers are educated. Yeah, and they go, well, we'll just wait. Yeah, we're not going to keep dropping. We did see some price drop. Yeah, and a little bit of correction. Hence why we went from 20% growth down to 11. Yeah, but we didn't see the market go into a recession here in Canmore.
Yeah. And I think it's positive for people who own in the market to be confident in what they have as a property, that, it's not like they lost their value, right? Yeah. I mean, the market is very unique right now in what we have for buyers and stuff like that, but ultimately the demand is still there. Yeah. And I would agree. So it's very positive whether you're a buyer or a seller, to be in this Canmore Bow Valley market.
100%.
So
100%.
Anything else to add?
No, I just want to say, like Parker said at the start of the video, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
We're super excited going into 2024 and what the real estate market looks like. And, if you have any questions about this or any other of the videos we do, or just reach out to us, and we'd love to connect and we love talking about where we live,
Yeah.
and what we do, and the Canmore market, and so
The people here.
and the people here. So
Yeah.
yeah, specifically, just reach out, and we'd love to connect.
And I think the biggest thing too is we just want to say thank you for all the subscribers that we've gotten over the last year. We started our channel in 2023 and we saw some significant growth there, and in turn we were able to help people accomplish what they were looking to do and just provide value. So we do really appreciate you guys already. So stay tuned for tons of more content in 2024 and continuing with our monthly market updates. And if you have any questions or if you have any comments on this, drop them down below. We'd absolutely love to hear from you, and we look forward to coming at you with more content soon. Take care.